This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chicago. This is The Loop, our Chicago sports roundup where we keep you in the loop. I am Big Z, and I'm here with my co-host, E-Roc. What up, E?
What's up, Z? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. If you are a first-timer or a long-timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and, hey, give us a review, all that good stuff. You know how it works, so let's get to it.
Let's get to it, brother. Man, it's been wild, man. How you been, brother?
I'm good, man. Super busy, with softball. We got travel. We got middle school softball. We got our house league. So, we're just extremely busy. As soon as I leave out of here, it's back to practice again. So you know how that goes, man.
I sure do, man. It's been crazy for myself, too. Today was the first day of work, and let me just tell you right now, I am tired. I am not cut out for this work thing.
I'm crying virtual tears for you right here in the universe right here. That's what I'm doing, right? Considering the fact that I literally wake up, crack of dawn, right? Go to work all day, go to pick up my daughter from school after her practice there, come over here, do this with you, and go to practice 7 or 9 p.m., and then do it all over tomorrow. I mean, I'm crying real big tears here for you, bro.
Oh, that's so sweet, man.
Right. Yeah,
all right. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about the Bulls. Have you heard the latest story about Horace Grant putting up his championship rings up for auction?
I have it. I mean, and it's a surprising thing because with how important he was to that team, I don't think he's really hard up for cash unless he's just one of these guys that really didn't make that much money in the 90s.
Oh, or he's an ambassador for the Bulls, so I know he's getting paid. So I don't know what the deal is because he played 7 seasons for the Bulls, and he racked up 3 championships with the team, and then he was selected for the All-Star game in 93, 94. That was that weird year. I mean, they're made by Jostens. Obviously, you know that they're size 12 ring, 14 carats, and they can go for over $100,000 a ring. So, I mean, would you buy this if you had $100,000 laying around?
First of all, I mean, to have a piece of memorabilia like that, it's a one-of-a-kind thing. There's not Horace Grant was only with the Bulls for the first couple of championships, so it's not like he had a ton out there, right? So it's not like it's very, very exclusive. I'm surprised it's only is his ring a size 12, or it was just for the whole team they all got the same size?
No, I don't think they all got the same size. Those guys they have different size hands. We know that. Will Purdue.
Because I mean, you see these mitts right here. That's a size 13 as it is. So I don't know how they're fitting a size 12.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess he had skinny, very long, skinny fingers. I mean, some people have witch fingers. I don't know. Oh man. We also have news of a point guard for the Bulls going down. You heard about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate thing to see a brand new member to the team already going down. I mean, they are going to need the backup point guard. Goran Dragic hurt. I think wasn't he hurt in playing for his home team? Right,
so playing for the qualifications for his home team for the Olympics or one of those tournaments. Yeah, so it's crazy.
FIBA,
the FIBA. Yeah, it's crazy. These guys all it could be happening at any time. You can be going up the stairs, have a soft tissue injury, just like everybody on the White Sox.
Yeah, or you could trip over a bag and be like Carlos Boozer.
There you go, and then you have shoe polish on your head for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Oh man, so I mean that's the Bulls news. But speaking of basketball, the ladies have been tearing it up, brother. The ladies have been tearing it up. The Chicago Sky. What can you say about the Chicago Sky before I get into it with you?
So, I mean, the thing is that when they played that first game, I think it was a shocker. The last, 13 minutes they didn't score, and they were, I think the last quarter they didn't score. They outscored 13-0, I believe, in that final quarter of game 1 in the first round matchup against the Liberty. And, I mean, they came out on fire in the second game of that series. They won by the largest margin in WNBA history in a playoff game, which just overtook their largest margin, which they scored last year against Phoenix in the finals. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive to see what they've been able to do, being able to bounce back in the brand new format of the first round of the WNBA playoffs. Hey, they came out there, they kicked that butt, and they came in and they were able to go ahead and win the next game. And look, I mean, they're moving on to the semis, and it'll be interesting to see if they can climb that mountaintop again and repeat as back-to-back champs.
Yeah, that's one of the toughest things is to repeat as a back-to-back champ. It hasn't been done since the 2001-02 Los Angeles Sparks. So I have been to 3 WNBA games in the past month. I went to, I think, one of the last games. I went to the Commissioner's Cup, and then I went to Game 1 and Game 2 of the playoffs at home, which was amazing. And like you said, like that fourth quarter, the Sky ran out of gas. You can tell that the starters were just outgassed, and they were shooting air balls, and you could see the demeanor. And as much as Candace Parker is there as a rah-rah, let me get you guys going, it wasn't enough. The bench did not score to supplement the starters. Game 2 was an example of how to bounce back and how do you have your bench come in and show out. And I wanted that 50 burger. I wanted that smack in the face saying, you know what, you guys ain't gonna get nothing from us. We're taking this. This is my house. And that's what they did. They didn't get the 50 burger, but they went out there and they showed out because the starters didn't even play the fourth quarter. So when they came to Game 3, they were nice and fresh, and they came in. They held on to the lead all the way through the fourth quarter. It got a little close, a little dicey. I was watching it while I was playing bowling yesterday, but New York was trailing early in the third by 3 in the fourth quarter. Liberty were aiming to try to get that first round upset because it is only a 3-game series in the first round instead of the one and done. So, the Sky, they just came out and, they punched the girls in the mouth and said, hey, we're not taking this from us. We're trying to go back to back. And I think it was a blessing to get that number 2 seed and a pretty good matchup with New York Liberty as the number 7 seed. And now they're going to be waiting for the winner of the Dallas-Connecticut game, which is tonight. And that's a best-of-5 series.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to see what this team has been able to do the last couple of years. The fact that you're looking at an older player like Candace Parker coming home, able to drive this team to a championship last year. They're trying to repeat. I mean, they just gave their coach a new deal, a new extension. I mean, it's not. We talked about it on the last podcast we did, the Women in Sports podcast. But I mean, we're seeing the development and we're seeing the continuation and development of this program, which hasn't been here since the beginning of the inception of the WNBA. They came along later on, but again, just like I said on the podcast, I mean, the thing is that anytime you have a mecca of basketball like Chicago, have a team that's doing well, it's important for the entire league because you're bringing in new fans, and especially in the third largest market in the United States, it's important to have a team here in Chicago do well.
It really is. And you know what, to be honest with you, it's there was more fans for the second home game than there was for the first home game. The first home game was like literally half empty. And I'll be honest with you, because a lot of these tickets are given away. They're given to organizations and, just random fans, really. I mean, because my tickets were free for all 3 games that I've been to. But you know what? I'm a fan. I'm going there, and I'm going to cheer on the ladies do as much as they can. So I'm hoping to go when they come back, and because they'll have home court advantage versus either one of these teams. So I think I'm going to have to pull you by the ear at some point and drag you over there to the Wintrust Center, sir.
First of all, I have no qualms about going to see a live game at all, especially when it comes to, like I said, to women's sports. It's near and dear to my heart. But look, we have to consider the fact that right now, the defending WA champs are only 6 wins away from being the first team to repeat in a long time, in 20 years. So, I mean, this is a critical stage right here. If they can get over the hump, more than likely, like the girls said last time on the show, they're probably going to be facing the Las Vegas Aces, and that's going to be a hell of a matchup.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see this. All right, let's transition to the gridiron. The Chicago Bears have officially released offensive tackle Julian Davenport, fullback Jake Vargas, defensive tackle Laquelle London, corner Bo Pete Keys, and surprisingly, receiver Daz Newsome.
So the thing with Daz Newsome, I mean, he had a really cool story behind his name. Daz Dillinger, his dad was a fan. That's how he got his name. But he did have some issues in the first 2 preseason games. He's muffing punts. He's not catching. So, I mean, he was injured last season. I think he broke his collarbone early on in camp, and he really was just on the practice squad most of the year last year. So, I mean, like, it's kind of a shame. He is a very talented wideout. I expect him to latch on with another team, get a fresh chance to start. Because, I mean, I think he is a valuable piece But when you're in a position like the Bears are, you're looking for whatever you can get to move yourself forward. And a guy that would be on the back end of a roster of a good team, if you're going to have to be forced into putting him into action as a critical piece of what you're trying to do with your team, you're seeing Ryan Poles right now put his foot down. He's not afraid to get rid of guys that he did not draft, right? He's only had one draft class so far. We're hoping to see what's gonna happen with a guy like Tevin Jenkins. I think he has faith in someone like Justin Fields, as we saw when we went to the camp over the weekend. Mm-hmm. But I mean, a guy like Tevin Jenkins, he's on the hot seat right now because, again, he is not a guy that was drafted by Ryan Poles. They're trying to figure out the best 5 starting lineup for their offensive line right now. Someone that they need all 5 positions to be able to stand up to the opposition and protect Justin Fields, because even though he is also not a guy drafted by this regime, he's a critical piece. If they can't see some progression out of him this year, they're going to be looking back to the draft next season to see who they can pull in to compete for a starting position of the quarterback position for the Bears.
That's funny you say that, because I was listening to the radio on the way home from work, and I can't remember what the reporter was, or this notable reporter or NFL expert was talking about where they don't really have a lot of faith. This administration, the GM and so forth, do not have a lot of faith in Justin Fields, according to that source, and that if they end up in the top 10, let's say they get, they'll probably end up with a 6th pick, they'll be going for a quarterback, and that'll be end of the Fields era. Do you really think that's the case?
I mean, honestly, you're talking about a guy who was highly touted coming out of high school, highly touted coming out of college. I mean, he played 1 year at Georgia where he was behind Jake Fromm, and he couldn't latch on because he was behind someone. He went over to Ohio State. He had pretty good success over there. So, I mean, I think the stigma with quarterbacks from Ohio State is that they do not do well in the NFL. I think a guy like Justin Fields, he's very even-keeled. You never see him get up or get down too far, and I think this is the type of personality that you need on a team that we figure is going to struggle going into the season. Looking at what the ESPN put the numbers and the rosters into their computer, and they came out saying that the Bears would be the worst roster in the NFL.
Yep.
Now, when we look at all the talent positions, they may be true, but we're seeing, like I said, a change in attitude, a change in tradition. Everything that we saw with Matt Nagy when he came on in 2018, and when they did well with that first season with Club Dub and everyone getting geeked up, we're seeing a lot of those players being moved on from because they did not have the type of sustained success that they were looking for, and they've had to move on. Not only from that regime, but also a lot of these older players, Khalil Mack getting traded, Hicks not being retained. Now we're looking at this situation, Roquan Smith representing himself, looking for a new deal, and he's betting on himself now. He came out the last day of practice, the last day of camp, decided, you know what? It is what it is. Season's coming up. I need to get at least one preseason game in, and he's going to be playing in the next preseason game against the Browns.
Yeah, he is going to be playing, and he is going to be betting on himself. Now, the thing is that he has to play to get the service time for his pension and so forth. But the other side of the coin is that the Bears can franchise him at the end of the year, so he's not technically gone. So, again, with kind of the Contreras thing, where it's like he's a really good player, he's a cornerstone, he's a fan favorite. Do we keep him, or do we maximize our assets because our team is not going to be good and flip him for something else?
I mean, the thing is that if I'm not mistaken, they're going to be switching back to a 4-3 defense this upcoming season. So a guy like Roquan Smith, he'll probably be the Mike linebacker. It's going to be important for him to be able to develop more in this season. He's came out and said that, I've been busting my butt for the team for the last couple of years. I feel like I deserve more of a pay. And I don't disagree with the concept that, if I want you to pay me for what talent you see in me. But at the same time, he's looking for like Fred Warner type money. Right. He's looking for top of the line top money. Yep. He's looking for Shaquille Leonard type money. And these players, when we look at the stats over the last couple of years, he doesn't have the interceptions. He doesn't have the pass breakups that they do. And the other thing is that when you represent yourself, you can get your feelings hurt, which he clearly has when he's gone through these negotiations. This is why you have an agent. So when the media and the press and your coaches even mention it to you, hey, that's not what I do. I came here to play. You talk to my agent when you talk about that. I will say the impressive thing that I've seen about from the new coach Eberflus is that when they've talked to him about Roquan Smith, he says, I love having him here. I want him here as a player. He has not talked about the contract whatsoever.
That's
he
not
has
his
been
job.
very professional and kept it to football, and that's what he should be doing.
Right. That's not his lane. He's there to coach the players, and he wants that player. He's a good player. I want him on my team. He's a great player.
Right.
That's what I'm going to talk about. The contract stuff, hey, you talk to the man upstairs. That is not my lane. That's exactly what you should be doing. Same thing with Roquan. Go get a dude. At this point, go get an agent, a really good one. Get a Drew Rosenhaus or whoever it is on the football side that's really good, and have that man or woman take care of business for you, and so that you can play football and not be distracted by this contract situation.
Right. He needs to focus on being a football player and being the best possible football player he can for the Chicago Bears. I mean, we met him the other day when we went to the training camp, and he was a super nice guy. I mean, he was a very hospitable, very well-spoken. He made sure that he took out the time to talk to every child. He asked, where are you from? What's your name? Hey, can I get an autograph? Oh, only if you tell me your name. And take a picture with everyone. He took a picture with our goofy mugs right next to him as we're leaning in. Looked like we're trying to take a bite out of his ear like we're Mike Tyson or something like that. But I mean, look, I'm very impressed at what he's been able to do. We know that he had the contract dispute coming into the league as a rookie because he didn't like some of the wording in the contract when it came to the helmet stuff that was going on at that time.
Right.
And we've seen, even if you watched Hard Knocks, or even when, like I said, when we were at the camp, you see that mushroom helmet that they got on top of the other helmet, and that's mostly for linemen, linebackers, and I want to say maybe running backs. I don't remember. There was 3 positions that they said is specifically that take the most collisions. But let me ask you this. For me, it was my first time going to a Bears training camp, seeing Halisal, seeing the facility, going to the Walter Payton Center. What did you think about that?
Dude, I was blown away at how organized that situation is, really. And it is kind of like Soldier Field, where you have to walk a mile to get to your final destination. But I love how they rotated the different, the linebackers, the safeties, the running backs, the quarterbacks. All the positions were rotated during the drills, and then when they started actually practicing, they started at the 30-yard line and moved forward. So that way everyone kind of gets a vantage point of everything that's going on. I was blown away at how organized and how nice everybody was, really, because some people, kind of get overzealous, like, these are my seats, it's a free event, guys. Come on, relax. It's not a big deal. But the way that the players interacted with the fans, it was, first class.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the players that did come along and sign autographs. Like I said, for anyone that wanted it, they signed anything you wanted. I mean, I almost pulled out the left side right here because, it's the bigger one, and I wanted to have him sign me right here, and I would have got a tattoo, so that's how that would have went. But yeah, I mean, maybe next time I go, I won't wear a bra, so it'll be easy to access. But look, I'll tell you what, I want to give a shout out to our guy, DJ J Funk's out there doing his thing. I mean, it was really cool to see him. If you haven't checked out the video either, I had a very interesting interaction with the mascot Staley, my long lost twin brother. He found it very funny to play with the fur on my face here, the beard, and he touched his arm. Hey, you're just like me. So that was really cool. Just in general, the interaction. I think a lot of these guys that do the team activities with the fans that come out, you see the same guys at the Chicago Sky, at the Bulls, at the Bears. I mean, they do a really good job, and they're really good at what they do. So, I mean, shout out to them. Shout out to our boy Jay Funk. And look, I got to say, it was a very, very cool experience. I appreciate you for thinking about me when we were going up there. And yeah, we had a lot of fun. Look, we got all the magnets we can handle. I mean, I got a bunch of these I've been handing out. So, look, I mean, it was a first class organization, first class experience, and I was very glad. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, I definitely want to go back and actually, because I would always see people going. I'm like, it's just practice, and then now I see why people go. It's a great experience.
It's an intimate experience.
It is. You get closer there than you would at the game. Or you don't have to pay the $50 for a signing ball or something like that. You actually have a legit opportunity to get something signed. And there is those guys that they bring multiple items, and they're trying to push their way, and it's like, no, let the kids go first, guys. And then everybody there will be like, get out of the way, let the kid go first, and that's great. I love about what happened there. All right, fans, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride. So do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15
for 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
So I want to transition over to the White Sox, the MLB team that plays on the South Side. Every person on that team, it looks like it's going down like flies. You know, they're everyone's on the IL at this point. I mean, you can probably put, you know, the announcers who haven't been on the IL at all. That's probably the only people that haven't been on the IL for the White Sox. You got Tim Anderson still nursing that surgery. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. He'll probably be back at the end of September. You got Larry Garcia. He should be back this week from his 10-day stint. You have Grandal going down with another knee strain. Kopech, another knee strain. Now, this is the one I want to talk to Eo about because Kopech was warming up and looked like he strained his knee. He was grimacing. He was in pain. He continued to warm up. He told TLR that he's okay to go, that he wanted to power through it. And TLR, for the one and only time, listened to his player that he can go, and he ended up giving up 4 runs in the first inning, and his velocity was down about 8 or 9 miles an hour. So what do you think about this, letting Kopech go as TLR did?
I don't understand how you get a guy that's injured before the game and he says, you know what, you're good to go. I have been, as a Cubs fan, I have been frustrated with TLR all season. I've made no qualms about that. I would have no problem if even today that they got rid of him. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. You're talking about a team that had so much talent going into this season, and yes, they've had injuries left and right, but that was supposed to be fixed when he brought in a new training staff, right? But every single player on this roster has been hurt at some point, it feels like. I mean, up and down, your catcher, your all of your pitching staff. It's been absolutely incredible to watch the regression of this team from last year, right? Because, I mean, when you're looking at the fact that no one on this team is hitting home runs, how is that even possible?
Yeah, we're single machine.
Have guys like Abreu and Moncada and Eloy who can't stay healthy and Lubab who can't stay healthy. How is it possible that a team like this, built the way they are, cannot hit a home run to save their life? It's absolutely ridiculous the way that they're set up. The fact that they let TLR just sit there and fall asleep in the dugout. You know, it's an embarrassment as a Chicago baseball fan, and not just me digging at the White Sox. I was looking forward to having a good season, watching good baseball, seeing how they were going to contend against a team like the Guardians, who no one expected much from, seeing how they were going to contend against the Twins with their brand new toy with Carlos Correa, and they have not held up their end of the bargain. They should be running away with this division, and they're barely treading water.
Yeah, they're barely treading water. And then you got Eloy, who got hit by a pitch on the elbow. Okay, that's when a player does come out, right? That's an injury that you're like, oh my God, you know, let's take him away. Not when he swings, you're like, oh, I tweaked my knee. I don't feel good in your day to day. That's the BS I'm talking about, where Lewis is like, oh yeah, you can come out just because you swung and it hurt a little bit, or you have discomfort. Kopech, hey, you need a pitcher. You can't push off. You don't have velocity. Yeah, you pull that person. That's who you pull. Not Eloy. Eloy gets in the elbow. Okay, that's fine. You move him. He can't play defense anyways, and his bat has been okay. What's bothering me is that we have 40 games, and they're gonna play 500 ball all the way through these 40 games, and it's not going to be enough. And I'm going to be super excited and super happy that this team has fallen flat on its face, because it's been a disappointment from start of the season all the way through right now, because you have an owner that tried to right a wrong from 40 years ago. It's not working out. You have a GM that you've neutered because you took the coaching hire away from him. You weren't, so he hasn't been making any moves that are really going to help the team, because he's like, hey, as long as this guy's coaching, I can't have my guys there. But at the same time, remember, he made all these trades, he made all these draft picks, he's signed all these players. So the issue is, we made a trade for Sale, right? We traded Sale away 6 years ago. That's when the rebuild started. And we were touted about, Lubob is coming, and Eloy, and Nikki Two Strikes, and Moncada. They're all going to come up. And when they all come up, they're going to be fantastic. And it hasn't happened.
And my biggest thing, it has been that way for a while, is what is going on. Moncada, yes, he had COVID. Yes, he showed effects from having COVID, not being able to recover the way that a professional athlete should be able to recover. Yes, COVID took a big toll on a lot of different people. But, I mean, I don't understand, is that still bothering him? Or is he just not trying hard?
He's not interested.
That's my biggest gripe with a guy like that. You're supposed to be a good player. Right. You're a big, strong kid. And, I mean, you go up and down. I mean, TA is even hurt right now. Yo-Yo is not getting it done.
No, I mean, he had a little hot streak this past week. We had hit a couple of home runs. But let me put it to you in perspective. Albert Pujols has 7 home runs in the past week. The White Sox have 6.
Yeah, and I mean, it's incredible when you see what he's been able to do, considering the fact that this is literally his last chance for romance, right? He's getting down the pipeline. You're having everyone celebrate him and not celebrating Miguel Cabrera, which is a damn shame.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're seeing what's going on, and the fact that Pujols is sitting there just reminding you how great he is every time he gets on there. I mean, hell, when the Cubs played the Cardinals in Game 1 of the series that they're currently in right now, they won off of a one-run game, 1-0, based on the one home run he hit in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
So he's showing you that he's still valuable despite the time that he spent over in Los Angeles stealing money from them.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice to see him. As a Cubs fan, it's nice to see him return to the Cardinals, do his thing. But it's a damn shame that a guy that's like 42 years old is out there hitting more home runs than this entire organization, whose average age is, 26? It's incredible.
Yeah. The average age did jump up because they signed up Elvis Andrus. But look, we have Baltimore right now, Arizona coming up at home, Kansas City at home, and then we go to Minnesota, I believe. Those are 4 important series that you can easily jump on because Brian Buxton's out of Minnesota. Kansas City's
But here's the thing. Yeah. Does that matter? Because I talked a long time about how July would be the month that would make it or break it from the White Sox.
Yeah.
And all they did is what they've done all year is tread water.
Yep.
They are not moving forward. They're sitting there just doggy paddling. By now, you should be doing backstrokes around the entire AL Central, and you just can't figure it out. And again, like I said, I'm not just dogging you because I'm a Cubs fan. I'm dogging you because I know this team should be better, and it's not.
It definitely should be better, and you know what? It goes from, like I said, the GM, the coaches, the training staff, the scouts, and most of the players. I mean, it really just literally lands on the players at this point because without a coach, I still think this team is 500, even with no coaching. And you know what? If with a good coaching, there's probably a 10-game difference. But the players are not putting up. The only guy I see really hustling is Abreu. And he's got bad legs. He's playing hurt.
And, you know, the funny thing is that, you know, one thing we did here recently was about Liam Hendrick coming out and talking about the leadership committee, how about, you know, the older players in the team, the veterans on the team are supposed to be the leaders, and they're supposed to be the ones encouraging the young guys, where, if I'm not mistaken, they had a players-only meeting without TLR in there. Yeah. And here's the thing. Even if he was there, he wouldn't know he was there in the first place, so what the hell is the difference? You know, you could have had him there, and he would have said, he's like that one kid that passed away, and they just kind of propped him up in the chair, right? They just propped him up in there.
He's weekend at Bernie's.
Right? It's weekend at Bernie's every damn time they take the field, and it's a shame. It's a shame, and the number one thing that they need to do in this offseason is to find someone that can lead this young team of players, preferably someone who is of Latin descent, right? We keep hearing about Isaac Yin wanting to put his foot back in the door. I don't know if that's going to happen, but they definitely need someone that shares the culture with these players to get them excited about coming to the ballpark every day, because it feels like they're going through the motions and not trying at all. They just went out there and expected to walk away to Central, and they just really didn't do that, and it's a shame.
This is the point where I say I miss Ricky Renteria.
Did you ever think in your life you would say those words out loud in public on camera where people can hear you say those words?
No. Now it's on file, so I can't say that. All right. I know your time is limited, but can you anything about the Cubs right now? Because I know they've been playing pretty good baseball. They do have the lowest ERA in baseball since the All-Star break. They're playing good baseball. They don't have the talent level, but they're playing good.
I'll tell you what about the Cubs. I mean, we knew this season was going to be a wash. We weren't expecting a lot. We really didn't know what was going to happen as far as looking at a guy like Ian Happ. Ian Happ has really emerged this season, and he's come out on top, being an all-star, considering the fact that just, 2 years ago, he was sent down to the minors mid-season because he wasn't getting it done.
Right.
We're looking at this season right here. We knew it was going to be a transitional year, and I said it early on, and I said it before the season started. This is a team that's going to smack some people in the mouth, and that's exactly what they've done. Yes, they've definitely taken their lumps. They're playing all rookies half the time. You look at Adrian Sampson. You look at a lot of these guys that are out there, Velasquez. There are players out there that are just babies. They're just getting used to this. And one thing I want you guys to remember is the fact that in the 2020 season, there was no minor league baseball.
Right.
So a lot of these guys that are coming up and playing as rookies right now, Christopher Morel, for another example, they missed an entire season of baseball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So while yes, it was only a 60-game season for the vets, they missed an entire season of baseball. There was no AA or single A or AAA. It was just them at home with their thoughts doing one of these right there, keeping their mask on, right? So, I mean, considering the fact that you're looking at some of the exciting young players around this team, I think that we have a lot to look forward to. But one of the main things is Hendricks is out for the season right now.
Right.
Yes, it's the end of the season. He needs to get himself right up for leave. He has like a shoulder strain or something like that. The fact that Contreras did not get traded is very interesting because it tells me that you're planning on having him around. To me, that's what that means. Hey, we know you love being here. We want you here. Yes, we could have probably gotten a haul from you, but we also don't want to leave a sour taste in your mouth. I'm hoping that they do the right thing by him, bring him back, give him an extension, let him guide this young pitching staff to the next generation of great Cubs baseball. Let's go on another five-year streak of making the playoffs, 3 years in a row with the NLCS. And I'll tell you what, when you look at the players they didn't sign, Correa, Javi Baez going to Detroit, not having a good season. Chris Bryant going to Colorado, not having a good season. Out of all the players that we've seen, Schwarber has been okay. But Rizzo has been the player that has played really well for the Yankees.
Rizzo's been consistent. Rizzo's been consistent, and that's Rizzo. Rizzo's always been consistent.
And that's Rizzo. So, I mean, for considering the fact that you're talking about a guy that was started out in the Red Sox organization, he is doing a damn good job for the Yankees. I'm very happy for him. I will say to the fans that were like complaining about the fact that they didn't find a way to keep Baez and Bryant, what are they doing for you? What is it? What would have been the outcome if they stayed on this team right here? Just a bunch of money. Now you got to sit on it. They've already told Jason Hayward, hey, you're done for this year.
Yep.
I think it was kind of crappy they didn't at least include him in the Field of Dreams game. That's something that we touched on a little bit. That was bad. Yeah. But, I mean, overall, I think they have a lot of players that they can look forward to playing well in the future. I think the Franmil Reyes pickup was phenomenal for a team like this where, hey, let's just take a chance. And he's been very good for them. I think his first 8 games, he had at least every game he had at least a double or better. I mean, hell, he even pitched the other night. So, I mean, this is a guy, you know what I mean? It was kind of cool to see him actually. He got a strikeout. But, I mean, look, I think the Cubs are on the right path. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in this offseason because there is a lot of players out there. The Ricketts family and Jed Hoyer have come out and said they're going to be aggressive in free agency. We kind of heard some of that last year, but I also think that they wanted to kind of take a break after letting a lot of these key players go, seeing what you have in the farm system right now. Guys like Pete Crow Armstrong have been playing well. Madrigal's actually been pretty decent,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see with the pieces that they've picked up, with the pieces that they've let go, what the team's going to look like next year, because you have to mix in a lot of these young guys. Like I said, Christopher Morel, Franmil Reyes is a built-in DH for next season. Mm-hmm. We're going to see what's going to go on with Hendricks. Keegan Thompson is another guy. Up and down the lineup, who is going to be here next year? We know Hendricks is out. Who is not going to be here? You can count on Happ being around. You can count on, of course,
Suzuki.
Hendricks coming back. there's going to be a lot of interesting movement in this offseason.
Yeah, on that note, I do want to talk next week with you on the future of the Cubs, and I have a couple ideas. The Sox fan has a couple ideas on how to better your team, because yes, I am watching both teams because your team's a little bit more entertaining right now than my team.
I think since the All-Star break, the Cubs have a better record than the Yankees. So take that as you will. Someone's like, what's the relevance in that? I said, well, the relevance is that this is a team that was never expected to do anything. And the fact that they came out after the All-Star break and been kicking butt.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they won 5 series in a row against
contenders,
bad teams and good teams, against contenders. They're playing their spoiler role to a T.
Right.
What you got to do next year is come out and play.
And build on that.
Don't play spoiler. Play strong starting from the beginning and get your ass out there and do your thing.
Yeah, you know what? I think the Orioles and the Cubs next year are going to be a problem for both sides of MLB. Well, next year, every team's going to play everybody anyway. So so that's
awesome. I love it. That is really cool that the way that they finally, because you got the interleague play, you got both leagues at the DH now. It is pretty cool to know that they're going to play every single team, whether it's a 1-game series, 2-game series. Yeah. I will say the one thing they really need to do next season is to make sure that, and I didn't look at the schedule yet. If they didn't do this, then it's a shame. To have the Cubs and the Sox play a real series instead of this 2-game nonsense in the beginning of the season. There's no value to playing that early in the season. You want to see these two teams at Crosstown Classic when it means something.
Yeah, definitely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. Thank you for listening and watching us. Woohoo! I said watching.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be a blast. We'll be back to do this as much as possible. And don't forget to check out the podcast. We just talked about the state of women's sports with our guests, and it was a lot of fun. So we're going to be doing a lot more specialized topic on the podcast. We'll come out here. We'll talk to you about the more current stories and see what we're going to do. We should have our boy Il Brown talk some Bears with us soon. And I'm looking forward to the upcoming Bears season.
Yeah.
What's up?
I'm looking to be disappointed about the Bears season.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they got. I'm approaching this Bears season the same way I approached the Cubs season. Yeah. I feel like they have potential to kind of smack some guys in the mouth. Game 1 against the 49ers, that is a good team defensively. And there is offensive weapons on that team. But again, you're playing a guy, you're going to play against Trey Lance, who was essentially a rookie because he did not play last season with Jimmy G in the way. Right. Now you have a second-year player on both sides with Justin Fields. But again, it's like a rookie because you're starting a brand new system, right?
A whole new system.
It'll be interesting. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching, for listening. A big thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Great Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to greatclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search your keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 at checkout for 15% off of your entire order. That is TrueFan15. All right, y'all, for Big Z, this is E-Roc. We will see you next week on The Loop. Until then, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
Swish!
Woo!
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth.
Lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos.
Show's over, show's over, show's over.